Every day, people put themselves into difficult situations. It doesn't matter if they're at work, or at school, or at the supermarket. Accidents happen all the time. Among all sorts of trouble, people getting stuck is terrible. You feel like you're trapped, sometimes literally, and anxiety can make it so much worse. Still, it's a daily problem for most. Some people get stuck in traffic, while others get delayed while they're in line to buy something. For people who hate to be in small, close spaces, getting stuck in an elevator is a nightmare. But let's face it, in these times we can avoid many of the situations. Our top 10 today isn't about common, regular daily cases of getting stuck. Quite the opposite. We can say many things about the poor people inside our countdown today, yet most of them weren't particularly sharp on that day. In a few cases, some would say they were unfortunate, not just silly. Today, we'll show you the strange cases of people getting stuck in places as absurd as a traffic cone, to as ego-crushing as a baby swing, and as dangerous as a deadly frozen lake. While none of the people involved knew how they would end up, none of them desired to fail so dramatically. If you think we're joking, just wait and watch, you'll see for yourself. Let's go. Number 10. A claw machine. No matter how old we are, we feel the same emotion when we see a claw machine. The giant see-through container full of toys lure to our hearts to its seductive power. We don't know of any kind of adult who can help desire to grab a toy with a claw machine. We feel angry when we don't get the prize, and excitement when we do get it. At the 10th spot, we have Jamie, a 3-year-old who felt nervous when he got stuck in a claw machine. He put his hand through the small flap, which toys can be retrieved. The little Irish kid from Negna was on display for about 10 minutes before an off-duty fireman was able to take him back out the way he came in. Jamie's dad, Damien, wasn't so surprised at this situation. The man said, "He's very mischievous and a sharp kid who always pushes the boundaries." Maybe it was something normal to Damien, but it certainly made it to our top 10 today. Number 9. A traffic cone. We often see traffic cones while driving, and when we say often, we mean that we always see them. It's impossible to miss one, right? Well, for our man at the 9th spot today, it brought despair. People sometimes don't want to pay attention to a walking traffic cone. Our guy from Hemel Hempstead, England, thought it would be fun to use a traffic cone as a hat. Yet, as witty as he thought he was, he ended up dressing as a traffic cone instead. For his best luck, I hope you noticed the sarcasm, the large cone slid down over and past his shoulders so that the guy got trapped inside of the plastic. John Waterman, a witness, captured it all on his cell phone. "It was very random," Waterman told the Telegraph. "It's not the usual thing you see in the middle of a Hemel Hempstead on a Sunday lunchtime." Well, John, it's not the usual thing anywhere in the world. People came and went, and no one assisted the man, and that's how he was caught in the traffic cone for more than 2 hours before anyone bothered to call the police. Number 8. A cement hopper. Even once in our life we've seen how workers pave the streets. We ask ourselves, how would it feel to step inside the mix of a fresh cement? It's especially cartoonish of an idea of sorts. We often see characters doing silly things, especially old school tunes, to get stuck in cement. Nobody would expose themselves to such a hazard intentionally. Well, we think. But accidents happen, and this is one of them. At the 8th spot, we have a worker from Aurora, Illinois, who got caught inside of a cement hopper. The worker climbed inside the machine to clean it, but while he was doing his work, he found he was unable to move. Residual cement on the machine's floor hardened around his legs and trapped him. It took firefighters more than 2 hours to free him from the hopper. Firefighters took the man to the nearest hospital, where health workers treated him for minor injuries. The hospital released the man the same day, according to the fire department. Number 7. A chimney. Do you remember Santa Claus, the old white-bearded man who wears a red coat, with white fur collar and cuffs and goes down our chimneys at midnight to bring our toys? Well, if you've ever wondered if Santa Claus ever got stuck in a chimney, at the 7th spot, we may have not found Santa Claus, but we have a homeowner in Tucson, Arizona, who had locked his keys in his home and chose to retrieve them by re-entering his house through the chimney. At the time, it may have seemed like a good idea. It's crazy that he almost made it. His feet were touching the floor of his fireplace before the space grew too narrow and he got stuck. The good news is that firefighters were able to pull him out of the roof, covered in soot, but otherwise unharmed. Number 6. A toilet. Some people call it the throne, but most of us just call it a toilet. Toilets have the single purpose of helping us become more advanced and civilized regarding our excrement. Sadly, people have been using them as their favorite way to drop all sorts of things, like towels, contact lenses, and we all know a friend who have dropped their phone in there. At our next spot, we have a man who found a new use for his toilet. In 2016, a Norwegian man named Cato found himself in deep trouble after he tried to retrieve a friend's cell phone from a public toilet. When he spotted the toilet tank underneath the seat, Larson thought he could take it easy. To his dismay, the tank, which is not connected to a sewage system and is only emptied sporadically, was full of human waste. As if the situation couldn't get any worse, Larson vomited and was also bitten by animals. He couldn't get out until the local authorities pulled him out. Poor Cato said, "It was damn disgusting, the worst I've ever experienced. There were animals down there too." Well, Cato, it's the worst experience anyone could have. Hands down, seriously. Number 5. A giant stone vagina. Each country has its symbolic features. Many of them have architectural pieces that are strongly related to their identities. For instance, the Eiffel Tower in France. Sculptures, in their way, are made to watch them and inspire us through their meaning. At the 5th spot, we have a tourist trapped inside Chakan Pai. The structure is quite familiar for residents of Tübingen, Germany, and it's outside Tübingen University's Institute for Microbiology and Virology, and has attracted curious onlookers since 2001. Peruvian artist Fernando de la Jara created the piece, which depicts a vagina, although in a symbolic, almost abstract redefinition. In 2014, an American student was fooling around when he got stuck inside the 32-ton sculpture. It took 22 firefighters to rescue the poor guy. In a good display of British humor, The Guardian noticed the firefighters were midwives for a while because they delivered a student by hand. People commenting on the news couldn't help joking about the incidents. A reader wittily claimed that the man surely felt reborn after being pulled out. Number 4. A washing machine. While playing hide and seek, we think about the craziest places to hide. We wait and hope that no one can find us. Many people get crazy and don't think very well about their hiding places, and that's how they end up in trouble. That's the case for our next spot. A man near Melbourne, Australia in 2014 who climbed into a top-loading washing machine fully nude to surprise his partner. We don't know what kind of surprise that was, but we know that her partner was shocked. After a long fight between man versus machine, he was unable to climb back out. Fortunately, responders were able to grease him with a generous and innovative application of olive oil and pull him out. The first constable, Luke Ingram, told Australian Broadcasting Corporation that, as a rule, my advice for people would be that not to climb into appliances. But it seems as the warning went unheeded by another Australian man in 2015, who found himself lodged into a front-loading machine and had to wait while rescuers disassembled the entire unit to free him. Constable Ingram made a good point. Still, the most troubling thing about this is that it should be common sense, shouldn't it? Number 3. A baby swing. As in the case of Claw Machine, when we see a swing, our inner child runs out to reach it and swing us. Accidents happen daily in the swing. It's a very common thing to see kids falling off of them. At the 3rd spot, we have a very peculiar case. A man from Vallejo, California tried to fit into a baby swing in a public park in 2011. Now, how did he fit into the baby swing? Well, he managed to slide into the seat using liquid laundry detergent, and as his legs began to swell, his alleged friends abandoned him overnight. A bit cruel of them. I wouldn't call them friends. We're supposed to be there, always. The man wasn't rescued until 9 hours later when a groundskeeper heard his screams for help at 6 o'clock the following morning. The San Francisco Chronicle reported the man sustained non-life-threatening injuries to his body, but there is no word yet on his condition of his ego. Now let's get ready for today's best pick. Best pick at number 2, Under the Ice. Sometimes social media can inspire crazy things. We follow every trend we see and try to stay up, or we create the next best content. It doesn't matter if it's an ice bucket or the famous water bottle flip, trends always come and go. At the second spot, we have a TikTok amateur who let things get out of hand. Our guy Jason tried to swim under the ice of a frozen lake, which is not a good idea. Jason, what were you thinking? In the video, we can see how he intended to enter the ice through one small hole and come back through the same hole. The complication started when things get dizzy underwater and Jason couldn't find the hole again. While thinking that nothing wrong was happening, a woman was recording the guy under the ice. Then, he tried to rake the ice with his hand, but it was useless. He was getting out of breath and he couldn't see anything. Then, when he thought he was seconds from dying, Jason found the hole where he entered and was lucky enough to come out of the water.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that will take just 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell and you get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 1. A seatbelt. Probably seatbelts are among the most important inventions humans have ever come up with. It has saved millions of lives since its invention, and it continues doing so. Some seatbelts, however, are a bit too overzealous with their job and find it difficult to let go. That's the case for our first spot. It started as a normal day for the 17-year-old Grace when she was on her way home and an accident occurred. Some people, while they're sleeping, tend to wake up in very strange positions. Grace, for instance, strapped herself in the back of her mom's car and promptly fell asleep. When she woke up, she was entangled in her seatbelt and nothing she nor her mom could do to help her get out of it. Since the situation became so complicated, they called the Dallas police for help, but the officials weren't prepared for what they saw. So, fire and rescue teams came to help too. It took detaching the seatbelt from the car itself to free the stuck, yet unharmed teen. After watching everyone here get caught in weird places, we hope that you've learned something today. I'm still gonna fasten up my seatbelt. There's still 9 other things that I'm going to avoid doing. How about yourself? Comment down below which place was the weirdest to you. We hope you enjoyed today's video. Keep watching for more great content. I'm Donovan. See you next time.